Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and this will be the last video that I do, so I want to end on a very positive note. I've called this the importance of tactics, which is something that when I came in I really wanted to stress that having a plan, having a strategy pre-game that you can work on in training, that you can study in videos, will help you then to execute that in a game, which will lead to success. So all we're going to do is have a look at two different clips of about 20 seconds each, and I want you to see just how many things in these clips that we've discussed in training, that we've looked at, that was pre-planned, where everyone knew their role and executed it in the game, because there is so many things. So I hope you managed to see a few things there. I'm now going to show you what I managed to spot. Okay, so the first thing obviously is going to be that press. So we forced them to go long here. How did we do that? We've got Jordan using his cover shadow. Perfect. We've discussed this so much. Eliminating one of their midfielders as an option. You don't see it here, but Harry's putting pressure on the ball, which means that you forced them into the decision, right? And they chose to go long. And we've talked about this. If Harry goes to press, he's not using that cover shadow. They've got another midfielder. We need to eliminate him as an option. So Peter pushes on, and we've got a man for man now in the midfield, covering those two options. So the press is executed really nicely here, forcing them to go long. Another principle that we've discussed, trying to get an overload in that midfield for the second ball when they go long. So Ivan jumps in front, really nice and positive. Again, front-footed, discussed this, making it a 2v1 against their one other central threat. Peter is goal side, so simply drops back in, making this now a 2v1 in that midfield area, an overload off the ball. And then we find our overload when we've got the ball by having a 3v2. So Jordan drops in into that half space between defenders and midfielders. Our opposition midfielder doesn't drop back in to make it a 3v3 in this area. And so we've now got a 3v2 in that midfield. We found our overload and we split them really nicely here. And now we can turn and run at that defence. In our attacking formation, everything here is perfect. We've got a winger that stayed wide, making some distance between him and the fullback. We've got a striker that's high, that's occupying those opposition centre-backs. We've got a right winger on the opposite side who's just on the shoulder of that opposite side fullback. And we've got our centre mid, our number 8, who's pushed up. Now we're on the ball, making it into two number 10s at the front of that box. The ball is now played wide. Ayaka receives it, and then he looks up to deliver. How come he's got so much time to do that? Well, there's a very unselfish run in here that we don't see from Patrick because the camera doesn't pick it up. But he sprints inverted inside this fullback, giving him a big issue, making it a 2v1. You can see he's even pointing, look, with that finger. He's worried about him, meaning that he hasn't got close to Ayaka. So Ayaka has the time to pick his head up and to deliver across without any pressure. And that is all due to Patrick's run here, which comes into that inverted position. I've tried to highlight it again there so you can see him. And now we've got loads of other things here that are going on. We've got trying to hit this area between goalkeeper and defenders. How many times have we spoken about that? Ball heading back towards their own goal. Defenders hate it. Overloads on the back post. You can't see Alan here. He's about to arrive. We've got a 3v2 on that back post area, meaning we've got an overload. So let's try and hit it. And that is exactly what we do. And there's our spare man. There's Alan arriving on that back post, on the shoulder of that defender. As we saw throughout that entire clip, he was waiting for this opportunity, waiting for that ball, and he sticks it across. And I love this. One of the rules that we set, our two number 10s, was when the ball is put in the box, make sure we're in there. And I mean, we couldn't be any more aggressive with our two number 10s here. That is brilliant. Unfortunately, really good bit of defending actually, stopping either Peter or Jordan, just tapping that in. When the ball comes back out now though, I love this, Isaac, inverted fullback on the edge of the box in that rest defence position that we've talked about again. so that then we can just simply go and recycle it. And there he is. So that is the first clip. So many different things going on there that we talked about pre-game. Moving on to our second clip then. And this goal, if seen at Premier League level, would have pundits raving about it. So I'm going to give you guys your moment and give you some credit here. There are so many things in this goal that were pre-planned, that were executed to absolute perfection, which result in actually a very simple goal in the end. But let's have a look what we can spot in here then. We've got a goalkeeper, Elton, who decides to go short from the start. You guys know I like that already. We've got a centre-back who's positive, who's got his head up, who's wanting to punch a pass through that first line of pressure into our midfield. And here we see our structure for the first time. Left back Patrick, slightly wider. You can't see Isaac, he's off the screen here. But this is that 2-3 with Ivan joining these two in that same line. 2-3-2, there's our two number 10s. Peter's pushed up into that half space sort of between midfield and the defenders. And then when I run this clip on, you're about to see that final three just here. There they are, Ayaka, Harry, Alan. Alan on the shoulder, waiting on the far side of the pitch. Harry occupying that height against the opposition centre-back. And Ayaka here. Right, this is brilliant. We have a wide fullback, and Ayaka recognises this, so comes narrow, dragging the opposition fullback that's marking him with him. So later on in this clip, you're going to see that Patrick finds miles of space on that left wing due to these guys working in tandem. If one of you is outside, the other one needs to come in to open up space. So let's spot that. We've got Jordan again. How many times during this game did I see this? Finding this gap, that half space. There's our defenders. There's our midfielders. In between the two of them, slightly off to the side, allowing for a really nice position to thread that ball into where that space where Ayaka was just standing. There's Ayaka. There's Ayaka's defender. He's come inside with him, opening up all that green grass for Patrick to go and run into on the outside. If one of you is outside on the ball, the other one needs to come inside to open up space. Working together has resulted in us getting in behind here really nicely on that left-hand side. And there's Peter. We're not defending. We've got the ball. Therefore, our number 8 now has been given the task to go and get in that box on a third-man run to go and create an overload on that back post. And that is exactly what we do here. So when the ball is delivered, we found a 3v2. Alan's off the screen here, but he is arriving. With a ball, again, being whipped into that space between goalkeeper and defenders, where they do not want it, where they have to run back towards their own goal. And Peter's made up the ground here to make it a 3v2, so now we've got an overload. A quality ball into the box, which now leaves us in such a good position here. 3v2 on that back post with a simple tap in. If Peter doesn't get it, Alan's there ready. And it's a really nice finish into that bottom corner. There are so many elements of that goal, guys, that were simply brilliant. Looked at in videos, discussed in training, and then executed in a game. That is one of the highlights of my time with you guys, because that goal really epitomizes exactly how I wanted to play, exactly what I wanted my team to be like, and you guys executed it to absolute perfection. So thank you.